Welcome to the show, everybody. I had two viewers, now I got one. I got Judas Flychai, the based Persian Michelin guy, with breaking news, exciting news. He has a girlfriend. I don't know if it's a government-issued girlfriend or what. She's not Jewish yet, but I guess going through the conversion process, going to be a mamzer. And L'chaim, what can I say? L'chaim to you, Judas Flychai, the based Persian Michelin guy, for actually getting a girlfriend that's probably not government-issued girlfriend. So I think you would be the first person on the fringe right to get their own girlfriend. Just be careful, she's not a Fed, trying to get you to I don't know, commit some sort of act of political violence. Be very, very, very wary when she says, "Hey, do you know how to work an AK-47?" You know what I mean? Think this one through. Be on the lookout for that. But anyway, she's a mamzer. Oh, mamzer's a male. She's a mamzette, a mamzettes. I don't know. I to be honest, my knowledge of kosher terminology is limited. You know what I mean? Even though I grew up in their capital city in New York, I didn't have a tremendous amount of whatever close relations with them. That's not going to happen. That you become aware of just by proximity, enough that you need to know, and then you go on your merry way. So the title of tonight's episode, which we were preempted. I'm glad we started on a positive note. The Judas Flychai gets a girlfriend note. This is the way it was originally going to open, and I guess this is the second segment at this point. The title of tonight's show is "Someone Else Decides," and we're going to open this with a beating. I have to administer a symbolic beating to a random social media stranger. So we're gonna open with a beating, and this is gonna be bad as usual. I mean, I don't, I'm not known for being kind. When I fucking come after you, it's hammer and tongue. I train for this shit like if it's like the fucking UFC heavyweight championship. You know what I mean? I come with nothing but bad intentions, like all bad intentions. So we got to talk about this guy, who I think I know who he is. I may have him wrong. There's a guy on YouTube. This guy's on Twitter. He's got about 7,500 followers, like 7,000 followers, something like that. I think it's an English guy named Academic Agent, Academic Agent was his second kind of persona, which makes him like an academic spy guy. Like he's undercover because I think he's in the university system in Europe or in England, and he has to the stuff he's talking about. He's not really talking about anything edgy, but not really. He's avoided it for a long time. But anyway, he's trying to hide his identity because, of course, he doesn't want to lose his job and go to jail, because people in England are going to jail for tweets. They're going to jail because they like the fucking tweet or some shit like that. So you got to be mindful of, some people have to be mindful to protect their positions. But anyway, he calls himself, this account's called the OG Roland Rat, as the original Roland Rat. Let me show you the tweet. Now, I don't know that there are Roland Rat imitators. Perhaps there are. Maybe Roland Rat is a popular figure in European intellectual circles, like Elvis Presley is a popular figure in America. There are a lot of Elvis Presley impersonators in the U.S., and you can actually make a living as an Elvis impersonator. And who knows? That might be a good way for you to go in the future. But as for the original Roland Rat, if there are Roland Rat imitators, I would be really surprised. I would be shockingly surprised. But here's the tweet. Let's give him full screen. Let's go full screen on this. Gotta go full screen. So here's Roland Rat on July 28th of this year. And the conversation, I guess, is something about the ruling elites of the Western world. And we all know who they are. They're the people who don't eat bacon. They're the small hats. They're the people who go to pray on Saturday. So he's quote tweeting some guy named Humphrey Cavendish. That's a pretty good name, by the way. That's like a name from a 40s movie. So Humphrey Cavendish says, so we can apply the same rules to the early life people who have conquered America. And Humphrey, of course, referring to the small hats. So here's Roland Rat. And if Roland Rat is academic agent, and I'm pretty sure he is, or I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he is. He says no, because they have done it entirely by fraud and deceit, such that they won't even admit to it, and to even suggest they are in charge is borderline criminalized. And you look at the way criminalized is spelled, that's like the English, that looks like the English spelling of criminalized. Anyway, this guy, I'm pretty sure this is academic agent. Whoever this guy is, he's a fucking idiot, okay? And I mean like an idiot. To imply that the ruling elite have tricked their way into power without using violence is to not understand a fucking thing about violence, like literally nothing. This is a special level of stupid that you only get with a university degree. You know, I talk about that selective attention test, that video with the people playing basketball, with the white T-shirts and the black T-shirts, and you count the times they pass the basketball back and forth. And while you're counting how many times team white T-shirt passes the basketball or team black T-shirt passes the basketball, a guy in a gorilla suit walks right through the middle of the fucking basketball game, does like a Tarzan beating of his chest, and then walks off camera. And half the people who look at that video don't see the guy in the monkey suit. And you think, well, how is it even possible? How is it possible you miss a dude in a gorilla suit walking through the middle of a basketball game? And the reason why is because you're focused on shit that, so completely consumes your attention, you miss everything else. And this guy, Roland Rat, has talk about missed the fucking plot. He's completely missed the plot. To claim that the ruling elite, the global elitists, the rootless cosmopolitans who currently rule the Western world have got here without using violence is fucking stupid on levels I can't even describe. When you think of the Napoleonic Wars, right? The war between Napoleon and the English, right? That was the use of violence with our friends the Rothschilds financing both sides of the war, right? They financed both sides of the war. They used violence to get what they wanted, okay? Now, they used violence. Technically, it failed because Napoleon lost, right? Napoleon lost, but what the Rothschilds did was they sent the messenger into England real fast and said Napoleon won. And all the rich English guys said, oh, my God, we got to sell all our stocks. And they dumped all their stocks. The Rothschilds bought them up for pennies. And then the next day, when people found out that Napoleon really lost Waterloo, the English realized they had been tricked. But the Rothschilds started with war, that's violence, and then that didn't work, so they switched to deception. Okay? And violence and deception literally go hand in hand. Violence and deception, there's no separating the two. There's no separating the two, right? When you think about the Iliad, right? The Greeks are attacking Troy. They're attacking Troy. It doesn't work, right? But straight up violence, pure force doesn't work. So instead, they build a wooden horse and they say, here's our gift to you. We're going to give up and sail away. But of course, it's deception. There's soldiers hidden inside the horse. The Trojans bring the horse inside their city. At night, the Greek soldiers come out, open up the gates. The Greek army floods in and sacks Troy. Violence and deception go hand in hand and have always gone hand in hand. Violence and deception always go hand in hand. They're never, never far from each other. They're like my two friends, starvation and homelessness. They're never far from each other. Okay. And that violence and deception are intimately joined is true in every obvious way. Even animals, right? Even lower animals have figured it out, right? When lions hunt zebras, right? They don't come out roaring saying, I'm a fucking lion, I'm going to eat you cocksuckers. Actually, one, it's the male lions don't even do the hunting, it's the females. And what they do is they go to where the zebras are likely to be, which is down by the riverside, down by the water. When the zebras are distracted because they're thirsty and they want to drink, they need to do that in order to live. And the lions hide in the tall grass, right? They're feline predators. They hide in the tall grass. They use the grass as deception to break up their outline so they don't look like a lion. They just look like grass, right? Until they can get close enough that they can sprint and take off after the zebras. Now, a lot of times they often have to sit still. They have to sit still for a really long time. And feline predators are exceptionally good at this, right? They can be absolutely still, and then boom, explode. This is how lions hunt zebras. They use deception. It's only just the tall grass waving when it's really the lion moving closer to its prey, right? And then deception followed by violence. The lion jumps on the fucking zebra's neck, pulls it down to the ground. It flops around. The lion holds it still. And then, when the zebra runs out of energy, the lion rips open its guts and they usually eat its liver. Okay. Lions do that. Even creatures that are not mammals use deception, right? Crocodiles hide underneath the surface of the water, right? Crocodiles, again, at the river, right? Going after the same zebras, they will hide underneath the surface of the water, come as close as they can to the edge of the water and wait just with the water covering them, right? And they wait right underneath there. And the stupid fucking zebra sticks its nose down there and boom, the fucking crocodile comes out of the water. And a crocodile's brain is about the size of your thumb. So deception and violence, right? The crocodile uses the deception. Oh no, it's just the surface of the water, right? Right, and the sunlight bouncing off it, you can't see what's underneath there. Right, lizards, reptiles use deception and violence hand in hand. There's no way that these two are not intimately linked, right? The Stern Gang or Agana, whatever, whoever blew up the King David Hotel, right, in Palestine, they certainly understood violence, right? That was kind of violent when they did that. When the Israeli Air Force attacked the USS Liberty, they used violence, right? So, what else? When the Rothschilds blew up the fucking Titanic, you know what I mean? That was the use of violence. That's the use of explosives. Okay. There's a movie coming out. Let's go straight to Hollywood. Let's go to Hollywood. Because I don't know. This one. This is a movie coming out. I will not be seeing this movie. I've retitled the movie. There's a movie by that guy who, Christopher Nolan, who everyone says is a genius director. Christopher Nolan, the genius director. He's making a biopic, a biographical, based on a true story. This is based on a true story. He's making a movie about Robert Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, oftentimes called the father of the atomic bomb. I'm not going to go too deep into the Oppenheimer thing, other than that he was a communist and everyone around him was a communist. I've renamed the movie "The Jew That Nuked the Gooks." Right? Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer trailer teases atomic bomb biopic. I guess they're going to make him out to be a genius and troubled and blah, 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 and a misunderstood hero. And the only human being responsible for dropping atomic weapons on other human beings is a Jew. That's using a lot of violence. My understanding, though I've never been in one, is that there's really, really, really a lot of violence in an atomic explosion. Okay? Now, I could be wrong. There's people that disagree with me. I'm going to show you someone who disagrees with my assessment. This might be somebody who follows Roland Rat, the original Roland Rat, on Twitter. I found this. This is a very interesting refutation. You see the little Japanese woman. She says, "Oh, husband, America just dropped atomic deception on Hiroshima." You see, it was a giant deception that we dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Right? It was a fraud and a deception. That's what it was. And you can see this woman. She's so happy. Thank God we didn't use violence against Hiroshima or Nagasaki. All we did was we used deception, an atomic deception, right? This is fucking Roland Rat in talking about how the ruling elite have taken control of the world, right? Where else do we got? Where else? Something else in here. No, we saw that. No. I gotta find. Yeah, and here's the other one. Problem is, so much stuff. There's so much stuff to show. So many things to make my point. So Roland Rat, think, how the fuck could he possibly miss this? Like, this is a college-educated guy. He calls himself academic agent. He's got 7,000 followers on Twitter. Everybody thinks he's smart. And they think he's smart because he's got a fucking English accent. People think I'm stupid because I got a Joey Bag of Donuts accent. Okay? This is a picture of American soldiers, right, returning from defrauding Germany in World War II. All these guys were so happy that they had successfully defrauded the Axis powers that they got to come home. There were boatloads and boatloads of people, of American soldiers returning home from the great defrauding of Europe. Okay? Believe me, violence was used. World War I was violence. Like, what? How do you say shit like that? These fucking people, right? They're so convinced of their own fucking genius. They say something that fucking stupid, and they can't, their ego won't let them call it back. They won't go, holy shit, what the fuck did I just say? I just said the dumbest fucking thing on God's green earth, and apologize to me. He can't. These motherfuckers, they crawl as far out as they can on the limb of the fucking stupid tree, and they fucking stay there. And then anybody that calls them out on this, they'll block, they'll fucking whatever, you know. They won't hear this. Now, here's the thing. What else? What else do I got? What else? Okay. Here's a guy. I like this guy. He's a Lebanese guy. I didn't realize he was a Lebanese guy. But it makes a pretty good observation about our friends who, and he also refutes the original Roland Rat, not the, not I guess the all the Roland Rat imitators there are that are running around social media. So Safetien, who's a super Bitcoin maximalist, right? He tweets, this was on July 25th, comprehensive summary of all fiat economists' objections to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is bad because it's produced through expensive work. You need computer chips and electricity and et cetera, et cetera. Real money needs to be made by sociopaths borrowing out of thin air to buy votes, enrich banksters, and murder foreigners. That sounds like they're using violence to me. It sounds like the Persian Gulf War I was violence. It sounds like the Iraq War was violence. Afghanistan, I believe there was some violence in Afghanistan as well. So Roland Rat, okay, with his 7,000 followers, has got 7,000 morons following a fucking jerk off. And when I tell you somebody else decides, right? That's what I titled tonight's stream. When you say shit that's stupid, you're disconnected from reality. If a lion can figure out how to use deception and violence together, if a crocodile can figure out how to use deception and violence, crocodile, fucking the thing's got a brain, again, as big as your fucking thumb, okay? It's a creature like 20 feet long. Its brain is fucking tiny, but it can figure out how to use deception and violence together and knows that they go together, the same as the fucking lion knows. When you flip that around, like here's another one, cobras, right? The cobra snake puffs itself out and fucking convinces its prey, or like usually a bird, that it's bigger than it is and you can't escape, that it's bigger and more powerful than it is, right? Before bang, it hits you with the fucking fangs full of poison, deception, and then violence, okay? Cobra snakes, reptiles can figure, reptilian brains have got this fucking down pat. And Roland Rat can't fucking figure it out. No, he can't fucking figure it out. College educated guy. I'm pretty sure, like I said, he's that guy, academic agent. He's as dumb as a fucking bag of hammers. He's as dumb as a bag of hammers. So where are we? Where is it? Where are we at? No. Yes, showed that one already. Yeah, here it is. So and then here he is talking like a tough guy. Here he is, Roland Rat, talking like a tough guy. I promise you, he's not a fucking tough guy because he's whatever. He will be wearing lipstick and a fucking wig in 2 fucking seconds. Right? There's no way this guy's tough. He says, and then he tweets. On July 28th, ignore normies and see them only as cattle who are undeserving of anything but being ruled over. Well, who's going to do that, Roland? You are literally dumber than a fucking reptile. You are dumber than a fucking reptile. You can be outsmarted by something with a brain that weighs a fucking ounce. You don't live in the real world. You live in a fantasy world of books. You are so disconnected from the real world because you view it through the lens of books, and you can't see very well through books. Books they're important and they have value and shit should be written down, but you've used them as a shield to keep you from the fucking harsh realities of the real fucking world. And of course, you convince yourself that you understand everything that's fucking going on, and you understand nothing. Any fucking normie, any dumbass fucking normie will knock your fucking teeth so far down your fucking throat, they'll call you Roland Gummy. You'll be fucking Roland the Gummy Rat, not the original fucking Roland Rat. I would strongly advise you stay in the fucking library and never, ever, ever come out. Do not ever come out from the fucking library or wherever it is you hide from fucking reality, because you are not going to make it. And I'm calling you a fag because you're a fucking fag. You're an idiot and a fucking retard. And the thing about people like this is that they have tons of followers, tons of fucking followers, and you make a decision to follow these fucking guys, and I gotta get rid of that. And you don't fully understand what the world looks like. Here's a great example of the normies that he's talking about. Roland Rat says, ignore the normies, treat them like cattle. Well, this guy's a normie from Chicago. And I promise you won't fucking ignore him. And this is an exact quote of something I've said multiple times. I've said this multiple times. An exact fucking quote, okay? This story from our friends at Chicago Journal. I cut off the date. Cook County prosecutors, this was only a couple days ago, told the court Thursday that a man shot and killed an employee working the service window at the original Maxwell Street restaurant. Oh, was that like the original Roland Rat? On the city's west side because he felt he was disrespected. The guy's name is Joseph Freeman. Joseph Freeman. It's a picture next to him of there's a small restaurant. It says Polish sausages, pork chops, blah, 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 blah. So it's some kind of a Polish fast food joint, kielbasa house or whatever, somewhere in Chicago. And the employee disrespected this dude, and this dude killed him. And he said, I did it because I felt disrespected. These are the people, right, that Roland Rat thinks he's going to rule over. Roland Rat, listen to me. Stay inside your fucking house. Stay inside your house. We're going to listen to me. We're going to punch you in the face. We're going to knock that fucking propeller beanie off your head. We're going to take your fucking tricycle and empty your pockets. Do you understand? Stay in the library. Don't ever come out. Don't come out. Because this world, we understand deception and violence, how that works. At least I do, and others do as well. Okay? You don't, because you live in a fantasy world that's all fucking important books. And none of those books is fucking important. Literally, none of those books is important. Let's hear what's important. Here's a guy. Here's a guy who understands a little something about controlling the world. Little something, as they say. As my friends in the hood say. I don't really have any friends in the hood. But this guy that's quoting it, this is a quote from the one and only Henry Kissinger, who knew a thing or two about violence. Asked the Vietnamese who got carpet bombed, right? But here's real fucking power, right? The quote is, who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy can control whole continents. Who controls the money can control the world. Tweeted by James Melville, 29 July 2022. Anybody care to argue with that? Because Henry Kissinger made it pretty far in life. And even after he was out of the White House, was held up as a consultant for fucking years. Long after fucking Nixon was publicly excoriated for being a bad human being. Fucking Kissinger, man, just honors after more and more people kissing his ass everywhere. I think Kissinger understood power when he's talking about starving people, shutting off all their fucking energy for an entire continent, and using money to control the entire globe. Okay, you really want to control people? That's how you do it. Take a lesson from Kissinger, because he knew, he lived it. He didn't read a book about it. He actually lived it. What do we got here? Now we'll skip on that one. Yeah, and I'm not the only one who thinks this. A lot of Bitcoin people have a similar worldview as I do, a roughly similar worldview. And the thing about this is, you got to understand that the people that go around like listening to these streams and consuming all this content, like you really think you decide shit. I'm telling you, somebody else decides. While you sit there withholding your fucking ideological commitment. I'm not going to commit. I'm going to listen to every side. I'm going to sit on the fence until I can clearly see that someone else has achieved all my bullet points of ideological conformity, and then and only then will I commit myself to whatever the fuck they are. So, I mean, if Rice and Beans Hitler is not like Hitlery enough for you, then you're just going to stay on the fence. If King Autismo of Retardia, right, doesn't quite have the regal bearing you think he ought to have, then you're not going to join, in building the kingdom of Retardia, right? So, well, whatever you identify as, this guy, Bitcoin Pharisee, that seems a rather heretical name, but a guy, I don't even know who this guy is. He just tweets saying, I identify as is the same as I pretend to be. And then there's another guy with Bud, whatever, who's also a Bitcoin guy, saying I identify as is the same as saying I'm gay, and that's true. You identify as what I don't know. OG Roland Rat identifies as, but trust me, he's fucking gay. And if he ain't gay, he will be gay if he actually meets people. Anyone who actually leaves the library is going to find out. That that is very, very not yet for that one. So we got a couple. We got a. I mean, I think at this point, I don't know what's left of fucking Roland Rat. He doesn't understand that deception and violence go together. They go hand in hand. They always have, and they always will. They always have, and they always will. I can give you 1,000 examples from the last fucking 10 years. Okay. When these people say this stupid shit and they're so fucking confident that they said the dumbest fucking thing you could possibly say. And they never crawl back off the fucking, you know what I mean? They never come down out of the stupid tree. They just stay in there. Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. Good to have you here. Okay, so continuing with some interesting, in terms of ruling over the cattle, right? Here's one of the. This was actually quite a good, a phenomenally good observation. It's a bit. It's a bit biblical, and everyone knows I'm not really a biblical guy. But this is what you're going to run into as a ruler, as you rule your fantasy world. Because trust me, you're living in a fantasy world. What's the guy's name? Tobias Wilson Bates, PH Dirt Brain. So I think he's being a little bit ironical there. Tweets this on 26 July 2022. No one wants to work is wild. No one has ever wanted to work. It's literally the worst punishment God can think of for Adam, right? So Adam and Eve, they fuck up, they eat the apple, whatever, God's pissed off. Then he says you get kicked out of paradise, now you got to work for the rest of your life. You got to work and you got to raise kids and you got to do all that shit. So literally, the biblical punishment, for breaking the rules is you got to go to work. So that tells you a lot more. That tells you a lot about the Bible at any rate. But nobody wants to work. That's right. Nobody wants to work. You have to incentivize them to work. You have to give them something of value in exchange for their labor. And if your answer is, well, if you don't do it, we'll beat you, you're not going to win this. This is one you aren't going to win, because sooner or later, people are going to fucking overwhelm you and you will lose, or half the country is going to be forcing the other half of the country to do whatever, right? And that's not going to work. It's never worked. And you'll be so busy fighting amongst yourselves that someone else will just walk right in and take over. So I showed this a couple of months ago. I'm going to show this again. So now let's talk about work and rewards and that sort of thing. Just to refresh everyone, a quick little refresher, something I mentioned about our friends, our neighbors to the south, Argentina. The story from May 5th, 2022. Argentina slams brakes on crypto, banning purchases through banks. Financial institutions not allowed to offer digital assets. That only means Bitcoin. 2 large banks will have to backtrack on their recent launches. And right before this, the IMF loaned Argentina, I think it was $51 billion. So they gave a $51 billion bribe to the government of Argentina to stop the adoption of crypto. This was May 5th, 2022, right? And now let's move ahead to the current day. Let's move ahead just a little bit. What's happening in Argentina? Well, let's take a look. From our friend, this guy keeps changing his name all the time. King Caesar's CIA simulation warlord, whatever. I don't know the fuck is like. If you know the guy, you know the guy. If you know, you know. IKYKYNO. So let's make that a little bigger. Breaking reports and visuals of gun battles, widespread looting and gun battles between police and rioters in San Juan, Argentina, over out of control inflation and economic stress. In May, you're not allowed to have Bitcoin. In July, the police are shooting the citizens. There's a connection there, right? There's a connection there. So, when you give people no choice, they're going to behave in ways that they don't normally behave. I've said that again and again and again. When the money stops working, you're going to see behaviors you don't normally see. This is worldwide. Bangladesh, by the way, about to get a big fucking loan from IMF, a bribe from fucking IMF. Keep these people in this fiat system. Do not allow them to adopt Bitcoin. Do not allow it. And the leaders of Argentina, they made a deal out like, yeah, fuck that. I'll pocket that 51 billion. How that money was divvied up, how it got kicked back to the president or the Congress or whatever the fuck they have, right? The IMF got what they wanted. You know what I mean? Keep these people locked in to using paper receipts as money. The Argentine peso, which is fucking complete and utter fucking garbage, right? Don't let them adopt Bitcoin. Don't give governmental blessing to a different system of value that the IMF does not control. Could that be any clearer from May to July? Only 2 months. The IMF pushing back against Bitcoin, and now there's fucking riots. Bangladesh, there's going to be riots. Everywhere the IMF gives a loan to help out, it's a temporary bribe to the people that are the management, the government, the management system of that country to keep Bitcoin down. That's all it is. Okay. And the people, they don't fucking know this. Even the fucking management doesn't fucking understand what they're doing. They're just taking a bribe from fucking IMF. They're just taking a fucking bribe. You know what I mean? Generational wealth for them. That is until the US dollar collapses. But until that day comes, things are fucking great. You know what I mean? Billions in your fucking pocket. You know, you think that the guys in Argentina don't have suitcases full of money like the fucking like the Ukrainians fleeing Ukraine? Like you think they probably got fucking like literally like van loads of fucking money. You know what I mean? They fucking re-insulated their fucking house using paper fucking bills. Absolutely, they fucking did. Okay, so the law banning crypto, which is not crypto, it's just Bitcoin. Once they get to that point, right, when people start looking for an exit and you don't let them exit, well, now you're locked in here with them. And what's going to happen with Argentina? I don't know. I don't know how bad it's going to get. But again, this is round and round and round and round and round and round it fucking goes. Some people are a little bit smarter. Some people are trying to they're just not asking permission. Our friends in Honduras, where the Contra rebels used to be when they were fighting in El Salvador. They were fighting the communists in El Salvador. Now El Salvador's adopting Bitcoin. Honduras, right next door, they've noticed their old enemies. I don't think the Hondurans were really enemies with the El Salvadorans, but whatever. They noticed that El Salvador is doing this Bitcoin thing, and a bunch of Hondurans decided, you know what, we're going to do that. Honduras launches Bitcoin Valley. Over 60 businesses have adopted Bitcoin in the small town of Santa Lucia. They will get training in the new technology and how to market their products and services. This was only from a couple of days ago. So the people of Santa Lucia, the 60 or so businesses in Santa Lucia, I don't think they would say it like a guinea. They would say it like a tortilla person. I say it like a guinea. They're not asking permission. You know what I mean? They're not waiting. They're not waiting for permission from the central government in fucking Honduras. They're just going to do this shit. They're just going to fucking adopt Bitcoin and sell their goods and services in Bitcoin, because I'm guessing the economy in Honduras is not much better than the economy in Argentina. Okay, it's right. They're not asking permission anymore. All right, this is the smart way to do it. Just fucking do it. Don't wait for government approval. Don't wait for government fucking blessing. From some fucking central authority. That's fucking stupid. So will this catch on in Honduras? I hope so, because all these fiat schemes are going to come crashing down. All of them. They're all corrupt systems, right? Where you're trading paper fucking receipts, that go ever down in value, that you have to work harder and harder until you can't even afford to keep a roof over your head or put food in your fucking kids' bellies. And then you start rioting. Then you start fighting the police. Then they're going to shoot you, and on and on and on. There's everything about this is 100% predictable. And everything about this is 100% avoidable if you just adopt Bitcoin, right? But people are slow to see this. They're really slow to see this. But like I said, it will be decided for you. It will really, really be decided for you. Where are we? What is this one? What is this one? I can't remember. Yeah, that's okay. Here's for the U.S. This is interesting because this thing hasn't gone away. This NYSERPA versus Bruin thing, that Second Amendment case that was recently decided, is starting to work its way through the court system in America in ways that has got the fucking ruling elite freaking the fuck out. And I don't think a lot of people fully understand the implications yet. This particularly that it came from California was super interesting. This is from July 28th. I cut off the date at the bottom. But the story is, a judge in California threw out charges for carrying a handgun without a license, saying that the defendant cannot be punished for exercising his right to public carry while the state's unconstitutional May issue law was in effect. Now, somebody got arrested for carrying a gun in California, and the judge threw that charge out. They just threw it out because that Second Amendment case, NYSERPA versus Bruin, said that all these May issue licensing schemes are unconstitutional. So you can't be charged. Again, you don't want to be this guy, like you don't want to be put in the system. You don't want to be the test case. But this guy is the test case for California. And around the country, sooner or later, criminal defense lawyers will become aware of this. And when their clients, and even these crappy 18B lawyers will figure this shit out. When their clients get arrested, right, for carrying illegal guns, that charge is going to have to be dropped. Felony gun possession is no longer a charge in the United States. Again, you don't want to be the test case in your state because you're going to get thrown in the system and blah, 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 blah. You got to go to the county, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the implications of what that judge has done is fucking enormous, and you haven't seen it yet. How do you stop people from carrying? It is unconstitutional to arrest them for carrying firearms anywhere. That's what NYSERPA versus Bruin really means. And again, it hasn't fully filtered through the system. But the reason why Congress has passed it, is still going with the assault weapons ban, they're still screaming about this and that, is because of stuff like this. The judicial branch is following its own dictates, and it is seriously upsetting the power scheme that the current legislative and executive branch have had set up for a really long time. That's a huge decision. That fucking decision is huge. I'm not suggesting that you go carry a gun without a license, I strongly suggest you do all the paperwork and do all the steps. Better to have it and not need it. But should you find yourself in a situation where this charge is, this charge is brought against you in court, it's going to get kicked out. It got kicked out in California. California, the most hyper restrictive of all the anti-Second Amendment states. Big fucking deal. Big deal. All right. What else? I gotta think of all this stuff. Now, people say to me, James, you're fucking crazy. And I don't know if I've showed this one before. I'm not sure if I've shown this one before, but this is my attitude when people tell me I'm crazy. When people say, you're kind of fucking crazy. The things you say are crazy. The things you post are crazy. You know what? This is pretty much me. That's my attitude. What are you going to do? I don't wear a suit and a tie. If I did wear a suit and a tie, I hope I would look as good in it as that guy does. Although he looks a little bit like Leonardo DiCaprio with a beard. I don't know who this guy is. But do I look crazy to you? That's great. I have your opinion of me, and my perceived psychiatric fitness is of less importance. has a lot less fucking power than you think. Has a lot less power than you think. The things that I see and I think are important seem to be popping up, driving events all around the globe. So when you have things like, let's see. Here's this is going to be a troll, right? This one's a troll, but I swear to God, we're in an age where you can't even tell if it's a troll anymore, right? This account's mostly a troll account from Twitter. But I look at this stuff and I'm like, I don't know, is that a real headline? Nobody reads magazines anyway. Certainly nobody reads The Atlantic, except super rich Manhattan liberals, I guess, Washington D.C. people. But supposedly, The Atlantic ran this story claiming we're in a recession is an act of white supremacy. Of all the acts of white supremacy you could possibly commit, which is a pretty much a crime at this point, saying that we're in a recession qualifies you, I guess, for membership in the KKK, membership in some sort of white supremacy domestic terrorist organization. Again, I don't know. I don't think that's I haven't seen a copy of The Atlantic in I don't know how long, but and it's probably a troll headline. But man, it's really tough. It's really very, very, very hard to tell what's trolling and what's not trolling anymore. Okay, I mean, there's what is this? Here, okay. So this is this guy. I like this guy. I think this guy's an English guy too, but he's not nearly as pompous as the original Roland Rat. Not nearly as dumb. I think this guy grabbed this from the LinkedIn website. His name is Alan McLeod from 27 July 2022. Alan writes, the existence of this headline is about the best proof I've seen that, quote, the economy usually just means rich people's bank balances. And the story is from LinkedIn. It says, economy to recover strongly, but wages and jobs will not. And this is one of those, they kind of said the quiet part out loud. Wages and jobs not coming back. The economy, however, for the coastal elites, for the cosmopolitan elites, things will get better for them. But for everyone else, you're going to find out something like this. Where is it? Showed that. Here. This is what's the story from the 25th of July. You know, and again, if you are you don't identify with these people, you know, that's fine. You don't have to identify with people, but understand that there are millions and tens of millions of them, and you will not be able to ignore when these people start freaking out. Story from Zero Hedge. Private equity vultures target trailer parks, hiking rents and neglecting repairs. The private equity vultures, of course, are BlackRock, pardon me, and Vanguard. So this is from, like I said, 25th of July, 2022. Everyone squeezing the bottom to send more value up to the top. And part of the reason why I don't listen to any of these people, like the stuff that you say is so fucking embarrassing. I think had anyone ever held up a fucking mirror to you, and you had any shame whatsoever, and I don't think most of these people have any fucking shame or any self-respect. I don't think they would ever live it down. I've said dumb shit. I've done dumb shit. I've been drunk, a fucking drunken asshole on fucking YouTube. I don't know how many fucking times. But I understand, you know, I see myself, my importance in the world correctly, which is not very fucking important at all. Okay. And when I say something stupid and I have to call it back, I go, holy shit, I fucking said the dumbest fucking thing. I apologize. Like I said, I'm the only guy who's ever been wrong. I'm the only man who's ever been fucking wrong on the internet ever. Everyone else is 100% correct in all their observations, their opinions, everything. They're 100% correct all the time, every day, 24/7, 365, okay? Which we all know is bullshit, right? So, okay. Here's when people talk about. Let me not even do screen shares. There's a competition amongst parasites. That's what this is. Well, I'm now finding myself thinking that all politics is a competition amongst parasites. Like Roland Rat, who has no fucking, he doesn't like normies. He never worked a day in his life. He has no fucking calluses. There's never been a drop of sweat come off his fucking brow. He's never had to solve a problem. He's never missed a fucking meal. He's never been told you can't go home until this is finished. He doesn't know how to work complex machinery. He doesn't even know how to purchase complex fucking machinery. You know what I mean? Much less, or why it needs to be fucking purchased in order to build the fucking things and maintain the things that that he needs for his lifestyle. And most of these people, they're just bitching that the elite class, the apex parasite, the Jews, they're the apex parasite. They're at the top, right? They're at the tippy top of this fucking pyramid. That you're somewhat further down. I mean, you don't have a real job or anything like that. You don't have to fucking go to work, but you're mostly complaining that you're not the apex parasite. And you're sitting there scratching your fucking head, reading all these fucking books, trying to figure out the secret to how to become the apex fucking parasite, even though it's obvious right to your fucking face. It's completely fucking obvious, but you're too dumb to understand it in the real world, and you're too chicken shit and too fucking lazy to fucking do it. That's the truth. And all these people, I don't listen to it. Like, you know, I don't know if Roland Rat, if I muted him or like, here's the thing. I decide for you. When you decide like, well, this guy Roland Rat has a good point, or, you know, well, okay, he may be wrong on this, but here's 7 other things. I don't give a fuck. You make a choice, right? You choose to be with that guy. You choose to be with that guy. You want to sit on the fucking fence and go, I will withhold my ideological commitment. I'm going to withhold my ideological commitment until I see, listen, you jerk off. Nobody gives a fuck about your ideological commitment. No one fucking cares. No one needs that. It has zero value. Your ideological commitment to this fucking worldview or that fucking worldview is bullshit. Okay? You're going to get crushed and I'm going to enjoy seeing it. Okay? Because you're that fucking zebra who says like, "Oh, what are those bubbles underneath the water? Look, there's something." You know what I mean? Let me stick my nose closer to the surface of the water, and boom, crocodile fucking has a fucking zebra sandwich for fucking lunch. You don't get it, and you're not gonna get it. But watching you get killed, I will. Watching you get eaten by a crocodile or whatever the human equivalent is going to be is going to be a joy, because these. I'm a big fan of all that fucking classical shit, right? There's and everybody on the fringe right everybody knows about the frog and the scorpion, right? Oh, the frog and the scorpion. There's a fire, and then there's a frog. He's about to jump in the water and swim to safety, and then right at the edge of the river is a scorpion, and he goes, "Help! Help! Help! I can't swim. Let me get on your back and swim across the river, and that way I don't burn up in the fire." And the frog is like, "I shouldn't do it, but okay, here, get on my back." And then the scorpion gets on his back, and the frog starts swimming across the water. Halfway across the water, bang, the fucking scorpion stings the frog, poisons him, and the frog goes, "What the fuck did you do? You idiot, now we're both going to die." And the scorpion says, "Well, you knew what I was when you let me on your back, so what are you blaming me for? You know, why are you surprised and outraged that a scorpion acts like a scorpion?" Right? And everybody knows that one, the frog and the scorpion. But believe it or not, you might find this shocking. That's not the only story Aesop ever told. Aesop has a lot of fables. And in one of them, Aesop pointed out the weakness of democracy. As a democracy respecter, you have to understand the full picture, right? There's a story of the mice. All the mice got together in the barn, and they had a meeting. And they talked about the problem of the cat. Right? That the cat hunts them and rips them apart and eats them. And the mice decided, they voted to bell the cat. The mice voted to bell the cat. And even on Twitter, there was some account called Belling Cat. That was like literally the name of the account. That I think was like a CIA account or a Pentagon account or something like that. They were always pushing intelligence community talking points. But the phrase, and you've probably heard it before, many of you would have heard it before, the mice voted to bell the cat. What does that tell you? When life becomes predator versus prey, there's no more agreements. Democracy, for all its strengths, is still people agreeing to a set of rules. Right? The cat's not going to agree to wear a fucking bell, because the cat operates on different principles. The cat operates on predator versus prey. When you get to that predator versus prey point in your lifetime, all of your conception of rules are gone. These rules that you think support you, that keep you safe, that guide you and determine other people's behaviors, they don't fucking exist. You need to understand violence and deception. You need to understand how that works, and you need to use one or the other, or fucking both, or switch them back and forth fast. And that isn't really taught in a whole lot of books. That isn't really taught, because book people like to keep the real world at bay, because they're not really good at the violence and deception part. They suck at both parts of them, really. So they want to hide in the fucking library where life is safe, and then they can sit and moan and bitch and moan. How come I'm not the apex parasite? Because all of this fucking money funneling up to BlackRock, to Vanguard, to all these fucking people, right? It's all extracting value from the bottom up to the top, so that the elites stay elite forever, and you stay on the bottom forever. And if you don't like it, we'll replace you with brown people, right? That's where most of the fucking world is. And there are things that are happening you can't fucking stop. Things that this has, this has nothing to do with with perceived democracy. Like everybody wants to blame all the world's problems on their favorite fucking whipping boy. You know what I mean? So for extreme right-wing people, it's democracy. For Bible people, it's the devil. For fucking, for Jews, it's the goy or whatever. Like everybody has a favorite fucking, let's let's dump all the responsibility for the evil in the world on this group that can't defend itself, or that we don't like. Bullshit. This is from Variety magazine, July 31st of this year. So yesterday. Visa, the credit card company, intended to help Pornhub and its parent company monetize child porn. Judge finds in allowing a case to move forward. So someone's brought a case against Visa International as facilitating child pornography, aiding child pornography, and the website Pornhub to monetize the rape and abuse of children. This is Visa. Can you opt out of Visa? I bet you can't. I bet you can't. When people like me, when Bitcoin people say, fix the money, fix the world, we're right and you're fucking wrong. Because it doesn't matter what the system is. I've pointed out that democracy has destroyed every other form of governance on the face of the earth because a decentralized approach solves more problems more quickly and produces more goods for more people. That's why it won. But it's not a perfect system. It just happens to be the best system. But all systems break down when you get to the predator versus prey thing. And the predator versus prey thing happens when the money stops working. Okay? When the green pieces of paper we use in America stop working, that's going to be a problem. Okay? Then all the rules and all the fucking laws that you think fucking support you are going to go out the fucking window, and you're going to find yourself in one of Aesop's fables. And hopefully you will have studied these things a little bit and understand the fucking lessons there, and you can keep yourself from having to sit around and go, well, can we just vote to bell the cat? You know, can we just do that? Like, can someone just do that? And we could all be happy. So, however, not everyone's as dumb as they look, right? What is this one again? Jesus. Oh, I did that already. There are people who, this one I liked. This one I thought was funny because of the title. Because I titled it "Will to Power." The Nietzschean, the people who study Nietzsche and think that this is fucking important. No one who accomplished anything in life ever studied fucking Nietzsche. Okay? I don't give a fuck about Nietzsche. Cries and hugs a horse, you fucking idiot. Got fucking syphilis. Died of fucking syphilis because he was banging whores all the time. Right? This is your fucking hero. Your trad hero. So I call this Will to Power. Germany could restart 3 more of its nuclear power plants in addition to the 3 that are still in operation within a few months or weeks, says the chief of the Technical Inspection Association of Germany. Wow, you can imagine how tough it must be to get that fucking spot, and particularly in Germany. Then I circled at the bottom, it said, there's a quote from this guy who says, how quickly the decommissioned nuclear power plants could supply Germany with electricity, again, is primarily a question of political will, not a safety issue. So it is literally the will to power. Will to power being played out in real time in Germany. How exciting is that? Much more exciting than a boring fucking Nietzsche book. That I can fucking guarantee you. And you know what? You can trim your funny mustache and read the prescription for fucking penicillin you got from banging a whore getting syphilis, and you wouldn't have to die like Nietzsche did. Japan going to turn its nukes back on. Germany going to turn its nukes back on. These people they're not quite suicidal. They're not as crazy as the people that run the United States. Not yet, anyway. They haven't been bribed with enough stuff. You know what I mean? They just have not been bribed with enough stuff. So, all right, so what else? Was there anything else that I didn't show? This one. Yeah, this is Frog Capital. This is some guy who lives in Florida. He's a finance guy. I don't know, but he's a pretty good finance guy because he makes some important points about whether not that he's not a Bitcoin guy. I don't think he's a Bitcoin guy at all, but he makes some important points about money and inflation. And you should pay attention because this is going to be your reality going forward. Okay, inflation example. Okay, item cost in the year 2020 $100. 7.4% inflation in the year 2021 makes that same item cost $107.40. 8% inflation in the next year, 2022, makes that $100 item now cost $115.99. If they get inflation under control, and let's assume this miracle happens, but if inflation magically comes back under control, and you only have 2% inflation in the year 2023, that $100 item is now $118.31. And I circled. Even if inflation returns to, quote, normal, you never get the old prices back. You will never pay what you paid 2 years ago ever again for these sorts of things. This is what inflation does. This is permanent. How long will it take you to get a 20% raise, right? Or 21% raise? How long will it take you to get a 21% raise in your salary to make up for the inflation? I mean, has anybody here, that works for a living gotten a 20% raise in the last 3 years? You haven't, right? Your wages will not keep pace with inflation, even if they get it under control in 2023. And nobody believes that they're going to get it under control. Nobody believes that they're going to get it under control. You're just going to be looking at Argentina or fucking Bangladesh or Sri Lanka or Lebanon or any of these other places where fucking shit's, gone pear-shaped and going, oh, fuck, how soon till that gets here? And the answer is, I don't know. The answer is, I really don't fucking know. But it's probably coming. It's inevitably coming, okay? And when that happens and people act out, the elites will send police officers to hit you in the head with batons made of fraud and to shoot you dead with fucking bullets made of deception. You know what I mean? And you and Roland Rat can have a good fucking chuckle together and smoke a fucking cigar and live in your fucking fantasy world. What I try to tell people, what I try to show people is things aren't getting better. And you like that your team of parasites is team monarchy. And the other one's team of parasites is team theocracy. And the other one's team of parasites is team democracy. And it doesn't fucking matter. They're all parasites. The people at the top produce nothing of value. They all just extract value. It's all about extraction of value upwards. You think that you lick the boots of democracy or theocracy or the Jews or authoritarianism. You think that that's going to fucking benefit you. You know what? It's never really worked. This bootlickers are a dime a dozen. Like bootlickers are a dime a fucking dozen. You know what I mean? One of the things I'm glad I thought of this. Gilbert Salgado, blah, shut the fuck up. You don't have no idea what you're talking about. Here's the difference between engineering a solution and wishing for a solution. I don't know when this happened, 10, 12, 50,000 years ago. At some point, right? I used to make this joke. This is the title with the joke. I used to say the reason why human beings invented architecture, the reason why human beings invented all architecture was to keep the lizards off the babies, right? You meet a pretty girl, right? Boys and girls do what boys and girls do. Boink, the baby pops out 9 months later. There's the baby. One day, mommy wakes up and she sees a lizard crawling across the fucking baby. And she goes, ay, 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 wake up. Wake up, you fucking lazy bum of a caveman. Look, there's a lizard crawling on a baby. And the guy's like, oh, fuck. Hold on, let me figure this out. Oh, what am I going to do? And then he has to figure out how to keep the lizards from crawling across his baby. So what they eventually came up with was walls, right? And this worked great. Keep the lizards out. And the other thing that a wall does, whether it's a wall around your house, a door with a lock, a wall beyond that, right, with a gate that's locked, it keeps your neighbors from taking your shit when you go off to fucking work. Walls work better than virtue, right? All of you fucking twats are like, you need to have this virtue and you need to have that virtue. If you read this book, listen, you fucking jerk off. Virtue can't fucking touch virtue. You can't touch virtue, okay? And it's uncertain at best. At best, it's uncertain. If there's no temptation, virtue does great. When there's temptation, virtue doesn't do so good. But a wall works all the time. When you go to sleep, right, it keeps people from coming in and taking your shit. There's a wall between you and them. That's engineering. A wall, whether you think of it or you don't think of it as engineering, is engineering. It's engineering a solution to a problem. What is the problem? Lizards on the baby. People come steal my fucking shit. I can't fucking sleep at night. So we engineer walls. And walls work to protect the things you want to protect. And Europe has all these beautiful castles. What is it? It's walls to protect the people that are important. The king and all the treasury and all the gold is there, right? Outside the castle, there ain't nothing, right? You don't need a wall because you're worthless. You have no fucking value. Your job is to send value upwards to the fucking castle. But the wall works. It works. Every culture, literally every culture around the world uses walls instead of praying for virtue. Oh, I really hope my neighbor's a good guy. Oh, please, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Here, read this book. Read this book and you'll be virtuous. And that way you won't steal from me when I have to go out to work. That way you won't rob me in the middle of the night while I'm fucking trying to sleep. Walls work. It's engineering. It's engineering a solution to a problem. It's not ideological. The Chinese had a wall. Every castle you ever saw anywhere is a fucking wall. The fucking American Indians had teepees, which is still a fucking wall, right? Engineering shit works. Proselytizing, exhorting your fucking fellow citizens or fellow serfs to be fucking virtuous doesn't work. But fucking walls work, right? A physical barrier, making it more difficult for someone to take from you, okay? Add a guard dog, that's even better because the dog fucking wakes up and helps you fucking, when somebody hops over your fucking fence, right? Now the dog is like, hey, you're fucking on my shit. And you can wake up and right? It becomes more and more complex, but it works. Okay. Engineering solutions work. Okay. Praying that your neighbor is not a scumbag doesn't really work. That has never worked anywhere. It's never worked anywhere it's ever been fucking tried. It has never, ever, not once, never in the history of mankind has it fucking worked. Doors with locks work. Because it's easier to engineer that solution than it is to really, really, really hope that your neighbors are not fucking scumbags and thieves. So engineering works. Engineering changes the world for the better permanently. Doesn't matter if there's an authoritarian, if there's a king, if there's a democracy, if there's a fucking priestly class, a theocracy. It doesn't matter what the fuck there is. It doesn't matter what the fuck there is, right? No authoritarian said, oh my God, thank God we got an authoritarian in power now. We can take the locks off our doors. Nobody ever did that, man. Nobody thought we could just leave the door. You could just take the door down. You didn't need it anymore. Just leave it open. We'll just go back and forth. Why have the door swing open and close? Easier to bring the groceries in. You know what I mean? Just don't have a door to get in your fucking way. They all kept doors. They all kept door locks. No matter who was in power, right? No matter which team of parasites is extracting value upwards. Okay? Everybody kept their door locks. Everybody kept their fences. Everybody, everywhere. Since forever. So engineering solutions are real fucking solutions. Sitting around going, here's Gilbert Salgado is a perfect example. Gilbert Salgado, right? He's going to be his job in the future in the white Wakanda or the fucking whatever, the kosher the kosher fucking republic that whatever he thinks is going to happen. He thinks he's going to make an income off of being. I'm going to be the one who calls for unity. Okay, here's what we need to do. Everyone, stop what you're doing. Everything you're doing is wrong. I am the unity caller. I will call for unity. We will all be unified, and we will all be good communists, or we will all be good fascists, or we will all be good. You think you can make a living out of being a unity caller, right? That's what you're like. I'm going to be there. I will call on my official position in my postal code will be unity caller. I will say, stop what you're doing. No. You are wrong. I am the unity caller. And then you're going to repeat some fucking talking points, and you think you're going to be rewarded for that. You think you're going to be rewarded so fucking richly that you never have to touch a fucking shovel or go out in the fucking hot sun ever. That's a rich fucking fantasy life you're living. Because the unity caller, there's a lot of fucking candidates for that job. You know, there's a lot of people like, hey, I could be a unity caller. I could tell everybody to stop and listen to the fucking central authority. Okay, that doesn't get anybody anywhere. Okay, you want to be a unity caller, man? Good luck with that. You know what I mean? I want to be the guy who engineers a fucking solution. You know what I mean? I want to be the guy who understands the solution and helps fucking drive that forward. Permanent change for the better. Gilbert Salgado, you can't stop the NWO. Yeah, Novus Ordo Seclorum. Listen, that's been fucking said since forever. People point out that they were saying that in the 40s. They still don't have it. If they could fucking do it, they would do it. It ain't so easy as you make it out to be. But you think, again, in your fantasy world, in your delusional, highly detailed fantasy world, you know what the New World Order is going to be and who's going to be in charge and what the rules are. And that you will have a position, a highly paid position, as unity caller. Everyone stop eating lunch right now. Stop eating lunch. I'm calling for unity. We all must be unified and only eating half our lunch because of, listen, this ain't fucking school. You keep thinking that having the right answers like this is, you have this schoolboy mindset, right? Asking the right questions. How do I keep the lizards off the baby? How do I keep my neighbor from stealing my shit? Right? Build a fucking wall, get a fucking dog, etc., right? This has worked for everybody who's ever tried it. Okay? Hoping that's calling for unity. Let's all be unified in our virtuous behavior. Let us say the virtuous people's oath. I promise not to be a scumbag. I promise to do good deeds. I promise to do whatever the fuck I'm told. That's not going to happen. It's never happened. No matter what language they tried it in, no matter what era of history they ever tried it in, that doesn't work. Build a fucking wall to keep those motherfuckers on that side of the wall. Give yourself a chance to wake up, put your fucking pants on, because if somebody comes over the wall, you're going to need to do something. You're going to have to apply some sort of negative stimulus to them to make them decide they don't want to come over your wall anymore. Okay? Gilbert Salgado, I will have a position in the NWO. You already have one. It's bootlicker. It's bootlicker. You know what I mean? It's an unpaid position. It's an intern position. You know what I mean? You're an intern as a bootlicker for whatever the top guys are, whoever, and you hope that the top guys that you're acceptable to them, because it doesn't matter what the fuck that they are, right? You know, you just you're basically auditioning as a bootlicker to people who don't give a fuck about anyone other than themselves, and they're at the top of it. And they're going to stay at the top of it until enough shit breaks down underneath, and that's going to happen because these paper receipts that you trade, like you have this. Everyone lives in this worldview in America, like, well, you were born into a dollar world, you know, the dollar store. You were born into the dollar store, you know, and that's all you've ever known. You don't know any time before the Federal Reserve, and you cannot imagine anything beyond the Federal Reserve. You cannot imagine a day when the Federal Reserve no longer exists. That's outside your imagination. You simply lack the mental fucking power, right? Your brain is too dull to understand what went before or try to imagine what comes after. It's just going to look exactly like this but with robots. And we're still going to be trading green pieces of paper that are controlled by Jews. That's not the way it's going to be. That isn't the way it's going to be. We're engineering better money. Bitcoin is better money. It's the hardest money ever. The fact that only a very small number of us see that right now, well, knowledge travels fucking slowly, like really slowly. But good ideas, you really can't keep them down. Putting a wall around the things you desire to fucking keep safe is an idea that everyone still use to this day. A wall or a fence, or call it what you will. All right. That shit works. That shit will always work. Engineering a solution is a far better solution and a more permanent solution than hoping for the best. The millennials and Zoomers. The millennial and Zoomers will meet, my friends, starvation and homelessness. And starvation and homelessness, let me tell you, they're fucking relentless. They hide everywhere. They're relentless. They don't care who you are or who you think you are. When they come for you, okay, your life fucking changes. All right? They're my allies. They're your fucking enemies. And you don't know where they are. And they're going to come. They're going to use deception. You're not going to see them coming. And when they come, it's going to be fucking a lot of fucking violence. You don't understand them because they're not in your school books. They're not in your school books. They're not in your fantasy world. Starvation and fucking homelessness do not exist. That happens to someone else. When it happens to you, you will be grossly unprepared. Grossly fucking unprepared. And you think, no, I'll just lick more boots faster, right? You think you could just lick more boots faster to ingratiate yourself to those with resources that they'll fucking spill something, they'll give you some crumbs off the fucking table. Well, that's your philosophy and that's your strategy. Good luck with that. Good fucking luck with that. I'm not down with that. Okay. I'm not down with that. There's arguably two fucking ways to live your life. Like me, I've worked my balls off for fucking people who, whatever, you know what I mean? I've worked way too hard and got way too little in return. And your life can be, the time of your life, right, can be spent making others' lives better, right? Your time stolen from you. Or you could be like you. You could sit home and do nothing. You can just you could just waste your fucking life. You know what I mean? Being unmotivated because it's comfortable enough, you don't really have to do anything. But all of a sudden, time passes you fucking by. So you can waste your time or you can have your time stolen from you. Ideally, your time would be your own, but we're not quite there yet. We're not really there yet. That's for a small number of people who have that opportunity and who have good understanding. But most people don't have really very good understanding at all. Okay? Every week, I try to fucking clarify your understanding. You know what I mean? But you can resist as much as you like. I really don't care. Other people are going to decide for you. Other people with fucking power are going to decide for you. They're going to decide whose boots you fucking lick. Go for a walk around the block. Yeah, have fun, Gilbert. Have a walk. Hopefully you won't disrespect some Negroes while you're having a walk around the block. So there you go. Engineer a solution that lasts. Okay? Hoping that your team of Team Parasite gets in charge and they give you some fucking crumbs off the fucking table. Hoping that that's going to be a likely future is delusional, right? And if you can afford that, you can afford that. You can afford to fucking let time go by. I can't. I won't. And don't put your Bitcoins in one basket. The first what? Yeah. Finance as you understand it is Jewish, entirely Jewish. It's debt slavery. The first rule of personal finance. Gilbert Salgado. This is how you know somebody's a bullshitter. They constantly change hats. You know what I mean? He's a financial advisor there, and now he's a psychiatrist, cope and seethe. Now he's a political scientist. I have no position in the NWO. You can't stop the NWO. It's just new hat. And now I'm a psychiatrist. Now I'm a political scientist. Now I'm a personal finance expert. That's when you know people are fucking losing completely. You ever watch boxing matches of the UFC guys? When one fighter starts changing, when he's like losing, and he starts changing what he's doing, you know what I mean? You know he's going to lose. You watch the fight. The guy might start with a classic guard, and then he drops to like Philly shell, and then he goes back to classic guard again. He doesn't know what the fuck to do because his shit ain't working, and you can see he's going to lose. You can see they're going to fucking lose. I see that in boxing matches and these UFC things. I notice that a lot. Like, what's this guy doing? What's this guy doing? Sometimes a guy changes things and he's still in control, but once he starts getting beaten down, once he starts getting bloodied and bounced off the fucking cage or the fucking ropes, and then he starts all of a sudden trying to change his fucking strategy mid-fight in the middle of the fucking round, it's because he's run out of fucking ideas. And when you see guys like Gilbert Salgado, and there's all these other fucking dudes. Again, I read the book. Oh, my book didn't give me this fucking answer. So he just starts spitting shit out. Personal finance, NWO, fucking whatever. You know for a fact he's got nothing. Okay? And you should have nothing. You know what I mean? That's what you deserve, is nothing. Okay? You've chosen to live in a fantasy world and pray that team, whatever your team parasite is, will come to fucking the top, and then they will give you a job as Unity call. I will call for Unity. We all need to be unified, and then we're all going to go for a walk around the block. We all need to be unified, and we all need to tie our left shoelace first, and then our right shoelace second. Whatever. You ain't getting that job. You ain't getting that job. You maybe mommy and daddy currently afford you a lifestyle where you could fantasize about that job, but that job really don't exist. You know what I mean? That job really exists for very few people, and you ain't one of them. What is it? 1 hour 33. 1 hour 33. I think we got to wrap this up because I've run out of like just about everything. I mean, I ran through like a ton of shit. I went through a ton of stuff, and there's still stuff I didn't even put up because it's just whatever. It's just belaboring the point, and I don't want to belabor the point. I think I have sufficiently belabored all the points. But yeah, so let me just real quick. Look through the fucking. Is there anything I missed? Crocodiles. Yeah, I didn't mention hyenas, but whatever. Yeah, I mentioned. I did. I went through the whole Africa thing. Out of Africa. All the Africa stuff. There's still more Africa stuff coming in the future, but whatever. We've done Africa. We've done Aesop's Fables. We've done fucking all sorts of shit. Remember, it's not the arguments, it's the friends. It's the friends we lose along the way. It's not how good your arguments are. It's the friends you lose along the way. But seriously, folks, you can still afford to focus on nonsense. Great. When my two friends, starvation and homelessness, come for you, I wish you the best. Good luck. But most of what you're really good at is not going to help you with that. And if you're saying you're high enough up on the ladder that this is never going to affect you, then what the fuck are you even doing on my channel? All right. So yeah, an hour and a half. Let's call this, let's call stream, as the super smooth Eki Lux would say. And I'll talk to you guys again next week. Thanks to everybody for showing up.